Hi, this is Matt Apsicardu for KarateDepot.com. I'd like to show you how to size and select Tonfa. The first thing to consider when you're doing your Tonfa shopping is what style you want. There are a couple different things to choose from, and it's important to know the differences between each one. And I'd like to show you the first one, which is the most common style. This right here is your traditional round Tonfa. The handle is, of course, round, but the blade edge here is also round. You'll notice that. And it has an exaggerated knob at the bottom, so that way when you're doing spinning techniques and motions, your hand doesn't slip off the edge and go flying. Now another variety you can choose from is a square style. You'll notice that the handle has a slightly smaller bulb and that the edge of the blade here is squared. Now this provides a more flat surface for blocking and a flatter surface for striking as well. And it's really a matter of taste and what your style prefers to do when you're trying to choose between the two of them. And there's one last one to consider, and that's the police style baton. Now you'll notice these tend to be a little bit shorter, the bulb tends to be a little bit smaller, and they have slight differences like the outline cropping along the back end here. Now this functions along the same lines as the other ones, but it's slightly different. It's important to know that. Now let's say you've made your selection and you've chosen between a hardwood and a softwood. Harder woods include coca-cola, red oak, you'll encounter a lot, and softwoods include ash and rattan. So when you're shopping, it's important to consider those things as well. Now let's say you've considered the wood, you've considered the style, now you need to size it properly. Now it's unlikely that you happen to have one of these fancy little devices floating around your dojo, but if you do, you're in good shape. In fact, you probably don't even need this video. What this is going to do is it's going to get the length of your elbow here and the length of your hand. And that brings me to the most important point when you're trying to consider your Tonfa, okay? Pull up your arm just like this. Create a pointer finger like that. Measuring from pointer finger down to elbow is going to give you the general length you need when trying to decide. So, if you happen to have a flexible tape measure just like this, hold it up here to the pointer finger, bring it down just like that, and you'll get your number. And what you do is when you have that number, you want to compare it online. Now, if you need to guess, if you fall in between a size, go a little long, okay? And I'll show you why. If you go a little short when selecting your Tonfa, you expose certain parts of your body to damage. If you go longer, this blocking surface is completely covered and you're very safe. Not to mention when you're trying to do aggressive techniques, you have a little extra length to give you that aggression that you need. The other thing to consider is the hand here. You do not want a lot of space up and down. You place your hand flat against the blade edge and you want the point of your hand to just be grazing the knob. You'll notice that these are just right for me, so that way when I swing them, I can rely on that knob to be there when I need it. Now if you have a pair of Tonfa that aren't quite sized right, you'll notice this happening. It slips up. So when I go to spin, I don't have that knob to rely on as the Tonfa rotates. One final thing to keep in mind. When you're using your Tonfa, the handle should not spin. It should be glued securely to the blade edge. So when you're doing your spinning motions, however you do it in your style, that occurs by loosening the hand and allowing the whole unit to pivot around. Now you'll notice one thing I did with this pair right here. This was a red oak with a finish. I was able to sand the finish off because I prefer a natural wood feel when rotating my Tonfa. As you shop and as you get more experience, you're going to notice what you like too.